Welcome to Class Conversations, Episode 1, where class is always in session. Hi everyone. I'm so happy and excited to finally be doing this. I feel like this is such a long time coming. But first, I want to introduce us. We are Set of the Class. We're part of a Set, obviously. We got the girls here. So introduce yourselves, starting with this lovely lady over here.
Hi guys, I'm Fatima. I'm the Senate Vice President. I'm actually so excited to be doing this podcast. Like, we're gonna get to it.
I'm Carrie, Karima, Karimacha. It just depends on the day, I guess. I am the where's my role?
Secretary.
I am the Senate Secretary. We just do like a little bit of everything. That's why we kind of forget our roles.
Well, I'm you guys' host today. I'm Kendi, the creative director.
Yeah.
I am Fatima B. And I'm just a member, but yeah.
Creative Director number 2.
Little
person. Yeah. I'm DIY number 1.
My name's Ida. My name's Isatu. Either or, call me. But yeah, I do a little bit of everything. I help out wherever. And yeah, I'm ready for this podcast. We're gonna get some tea out.
Why do you feel like we started this podcast?
I feel like we started this, this podcast to have where we can have like conversations about this world, this dunya that we've been experiencing a lot of things that, older generations hasn't experienced. And we go through these life changes. And I feel like no one really understands us. And like, I feel like putting out these podcasts is like a safe place for us to talk and not be judged, So,
Right. Also, if y'all don't know what the Senate is, we have a Senate, which is like basically the definition of a group. And there's, how many of us is there? 17 of us. And we're all like around the same age range. And we have conversations constantly. Like, we spend nights talking to each other, talking about all different types of things. So we were like, why not start a podcast? And we have so many like knowledgeable girls. Everybody has their own niche and things that they can talk about. So yeah, I feel like it's perfect for us.
Yeah. I feel like the main thing is just, and we talk about it all the time, like having our parents come from like kind of being the first generation of Africans that migrated here to the U.S. and just like how much of like a culture difference it is, and just that whole experience, because it's an experience.
Right. Yeah. But it's not just like an experience for us. Like, it's like a universal experience. Like, it's like us, like in everywhere in the world. Like, it's like Europe, there in Africa, like even everywhere.
I'm excited for the topic. You guys, our topic is
podcast stigma.
That is our topic.
It's a joke. 2023, but we're bringing a different perspective.
Yeah, right. Because it's just like for example, on my Instagram, I shared a post that was like, y'all need to increase the price of microphones. and it's crazy because I literally genuinely feel like that too. Like, I hate popping up on like social media and hearing like just these absurd things that people say.
Podcast bros.
Yeah.
They need to get away because podcast equipment is already high.
Yeah.
How much higher do it need to be? It needs to get higher.
It's just the price of audacity. I feel like that's what needs to go up, y'all. Not even the price of the equipment.
We've kind of seen like a culture change ever since these podcasts have started, and a lot of these podcasts talk about dating. So how do you guys feel like it has affected the dating world, like the podcast bros, the podcast girls too, because they be saying some stuff too. So like, how do you feel like it's kind of affected the dating pool and the expectations for dating?
The worst thing that ever happened ever. The worst thing that ever happened ever. The man and the woman, like, I feel like it's hand in hand, because you have girls that, what's that girl's name, like what's her name? You know who I'm talking about.
B. Simone?
Not B. Simone, the other one where she's like, oh yeah, I only date rich men and he know I'm with him because he rich.
Sprinkle.
Girl,
I think she got girls that got no business acting the way they act to talk about some. Yeah, I don't want to go to Applebee's. Yeah, I don't want to go to Cheesecake Factory. Girl.
Like, what's wrong with the Cheesecake Factory though?
Or you got like the way men talk about women and like the way they have like this very like entitled attitude to it. Like it's just not even like.
Honestly, I think people are just so easily influenced nowadays. People just don't have a mind of their own. So when they hear something, they're just like, yeah, this person right. They got a mic, they sitting up, they talking about something. And I'm going to implement that into the way I view women or men and how I date. And it's just not right. Like, people need to actually go out into the world and experience things for themselves instead of sitting up on the internet and taking the wrong advice.
It's so crazy because I say this all the time. I feel like the internet world and the real world is two completely different places. Because when I hear people talk and it's coming from a perspective of like the internet and social media, it never translates in real life. Because it's like in real life, let's really sit and think about it. Girl, you gonna go to the Cheesecake Factory. Like, you're gonna go. Like,
and I've been to there.
It's a nice place. It's nice. Like, stop playing. And then also, literally, and when I think about, and this isn't to judge so much of appearances, but you talk about sprinkle, and a lot of people don't talk about how she does not curse. She's very up on like her makeup, her beauty. She has some very controversial like takes when it comes to how you should be as a woman. But they don't show that. They show, oh, how she's talking about, and they gotta pay for this. Oh, excuse me, men gotta pay for this. They gotta pay for that. So it's like, I feel like there's just two separate different worlds, and it's not.
And it
it's
actually
not
works for her world.
Yes.
People try to make it work for them when that's not true.
Yes.
I just feel like the main, like you said, Fatima, the main issue nowadays is that you have young people and just men and women in general looking up to these celebrities and these influencers, these Instagram influencers, these TikTok influencers, these podcast creators, and just thinking that, oh, I can live, this is the lifestyle that I'm supposed to live. This is the relationship I'm supposed to have. I'm not supposed to, like, if I'm in a relationship, the man's supposed to have, it's not, you know, it's supposed to be 50-50. It's supposed to be this. And it's just like, no, like, not everyone has the same standards. Not everyone is the same. You keep to your standards. He keep to his standards. If that's not the man for you, he's not the man for you. Don't push it. And I just feel like everyone just trying to have that rich girl lifestyle type thing. And yes, and then on top of that, I feel like exactly. And then I feel like the men, they just have the audacity, like even throughout history, I just feel like they have the audacity throughout years, and they just like showing their true colors. And I'm just like, I know who to. I need to know who I need to watch out for.
They really do. The things that they say. Even the way, nothing makes me angrier than the girls that get on those podcasts.
They just be sitting there looking cute and letting them say that shit.
And they be like, okay, but I feel that way. Yes, it should be 50-50.
He's right.
How do y'all feel about that though? 50-50.
Let's talk about
50-50.
How do y'all feel about 50-50?
So, I don't know. I think my answer is just real. Like, it's just like straight up. Like, it's Dean. Like,
it's just like we must.
Yeah, it's like God. Look, Allah said, "You the man. You the protect. I mean, you protect your family. You the head of the household. Like, you should be the one who is, have like all that financial responsibility. And these are not my words. Like, these are the words of my Creator. And it's just like, I just respect His words and His wisdom so much, because I feel like that's what people don't really like see. They don't see like, this is our God. You get what I'm saying? Like, He know why He's saying this stuff. But I'm also the person who's like, I don't mind helping out. You get what I'm saying? Especially if I'm bringing in money. Like, I don't mind. If you take care of the bills, I can take care of the food. If you taking care of the, let's say, I don't know, something else, I could be taking care of the clothes. Like, it just, I mean, like, it's like a partnership also.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing I hear a lot of, like, especially Muslim men talk about is status and how they should be this and treated this sort of way. And I feel like there's no way. I'm not gonna say there's no way, and of course, depending on the situation, you have to kind of help out because it's your household. But if you want to be held in that high regard, you have to take on that role. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I can't be going 50-50 with you, and then don't do this, don't do that. Make sure you do this, don't do that. Like, no, that's crazy. That's insane to me because it's like, and it's not only about the financial, but it's like, again, if you hold yourself in my life in that high standard, like you talk about, like the Quran and how a husband is supposed to be, that is a big portion of it, whether like it or not. Same thing, it's stuff is for women. It's a big portion of it, whether I like it or not. That's what it say. That's what we gotta do. So it's like you can't have that mentality, but not the action to back it up. You know?
Right.
I'm not gonna lie. One thing that's like kind of deep is like we talk about how it is in the deen and everything, but I ain't never had an example of that.
Thank you.
I ain't never had an example of a man,
like you said,
like truly just being African. I ain't never had an example of a man really doing what he's supposed to do.
And
women be working.
Working, baby.
And women be working. That's the conversation that need to be had. Because we marrying African men, maybe. Who knows?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Is it a strong man?
It's a leave it up to Allah.
Yeah. It's a very like entitled attitude towards it. Like, it's very entitled. That whole like, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that, or why you didn't do this, why you didn't do that. My whole thing is that if you were doing what you were supposed to do, she will want to do what you want her to do. Period. Like, cause every girl wants to be soft. Like, yeah, I can wear my foot a little bit. Like, yeah, I'll cook you dinner because you did all of this. And it's like, ooh, yeah, why not? I ain't doing nothing. But you make it so hard because you come in the house like with this attitude, and I've seen it time and time again, and I just don't have an appreciation for it. Like, you make me not want to do it because of your attitude.
And I think another thing is, like, because I really want to say this because I feel like when this conversation like comes up, it's like all about the money, money, money. But just because you bring the money in the house, that doesn't relieve you of fatherly duties. That doesn't relieve you.
Boy,
It's right there. Like, that doesn't relieve you of being a father. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't relieve you of being, you know, like a counselor or whatever. You know, just a partner. Like, just yes, because I feel like we do. Sometimes I mean, I like you said, I haven't seen an example of that, but sometimes you do see an example, and it's very static, very cold, a very kind of like base level relationship. And I feel like even though you're bringing things in financially, you still gotta be a husband, and you still gotta be a father, and raise your kids, like interact with your kids, have a relationship with your kids.
Because you get the chance to be you. Like, I've met, like, many men get to be whoever they are, but when it comes to the lady, she's mom, she's wife, she's mom, she's wife. It's never she's her, but you always get the chance to do that, and it's never like, oh, she's always worried about her husband, her kids, and the kids is always like, oh, mom and dad, but the husband's never like my kids and my wife. It's always me, and then maybe my kids, and then maybe my wife.
I definitely understand that. Like, with just like women, like getting married, period, we tend to forget to take time for ourselves. So we tend to lose ourselves in these marriages. Like, you always think about, oh, what I gotta do for my husband, what I gotta do for my kids, and you always put yours in, well, I'm gonna do my stuff later. But sometimes we have to be selfish. We have to be selfish with ourselves. Like, if you need to take that meantime, you leave them kids with that man and you go.
Bro, me and Kenny had that same conversation. She was like, if you going golfing, the kids going golfing.
Right. I'm gonna drop the kids hard. But I feel like that right there is where that 50-50 comes in. That emotional support, that raising, like, we're in this together, we're raising kids.
It's not just financial.
Because, baby, I know for sure, my mama raised me. Okay, your mama raised, like, your dad, they were present, but my mother raised me. She gave me rules. She enforced it. Like, of course, like, you know, your dad be like that, like
hey,
do this. But, right, but it's like that emotional connection that you have with your mom that, like, really, and that's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But I know so many people who, I was just talking to about this, who have, like, a very awkward relationship with their fathers. It's not that, oh, you can just go to your dad and just get up and talk to them, you know, or just, oh, dad, like, this is such and such and such and such. Like, just have that close-knit relationship that you have with your mom. And I feel like because women give birth to the child, that happens automatically. And I feel like men don't realize that you have to work for that. Like, you have to reinforce that over and over and over again, because you're not going to have that same connection that you have with your mother, because your mother gives birth to you. She's going to be with you 24/7, but you have to reinforce that as a man.
Yeah, you have to, because like if you don't build that care and build that connection with your children, you're not going to have that Yurumede meaning you're not going to have that vulnerability or that care for that person.
Or like that mercy.
Or that mercy for that person, or like just the respect, period. So that's why you see a lot of people that don't respect their fathers, because like you was not there. You don't know me, nigga. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Period.
type term. You feel me? So it's just like y'all have to do better, man. Y'all really do.
I remember actually watching a podcast where like they talked about all of this, and I remember like, for example, the guy, and you know what's crazy is he calls him, I'm not gonna call him a sheikh, I'm gonna say he calls himself a sheikh. You get what I'm saying? Because I think that word is just like, it's used loosely nowadays, you know? So I'm just, okay, I'm like, they like, we got sheikh here, and I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm listening to it, and he goes, and this go back to the 50-50 topic, and he goes, well, if I'm taking care of all the bills, all the like financial responsibility is on me, then when I come home, I shouldn't even know where the salt is. Like, I mean, like, come on, like, listen to that. Yes, and then you know what was crazy is because when he said that, and there was like a mixture. There was men on the podcast, and there were also women on the podcast, and you just hear the guys, and he's much older than the guys who are on the podcast. You just hear them like laughing, giggling, like it's like they just eating it up kind of thing. Like they start actually thinking like that. You know, it's like
they think that way.
When someone else when you have someone who's sitting next to you and they say, "Oh, the sky is blue," you gonna look up and be like, "Oh yeah, the sky is blue." You get what I'm saying? Like whatever someone say, it's kind of natural in a way. You gonna be like, "Oh yeah," kind of thing. So it's like when you have people like that, especially when they're in like a high position, because if Muslim say something right now, we all gonna be like, yeah. If Muslim said don't wear your coat over your abaya, I would have thrown away all my coats. Oh my god! Just kidding, of course, but like it's like someone who have that so much influence, that credibility when they get on these podcasts and not choose the words that they saying, like it affects the people.
They get on the podcast and they get this authority mindset that they can just tell people what they believe without thinking about like, is this actually something valuable to say?
Right.
Yeah. And then people take it.
Like, is this something valuable to say?
Is this something
They just eat it
up. They eat it up and they
up.
see that validation. People be behind their screens like, yes.
That's what I like.
Needed to hear. I wish this. But they be like, I wish this woman would say no 50-50.
And it's like, I think like rolling back onto like the whole podcast topic in 2024, and I feel like for years since the internet came up, y'all opinions, I mean, as we sit here talking about our opinions, but some of y'all opinions don't matter. And I just feel like we just need to come out and say that. Like, a lot of y'all be talking about a whole lot of nothing. Like, a whole lot of nothing. And it's like, y'all are degrading people. Y'all are just being me. Like, I feel like just being plain me. Oh my God, if you doing this, then that mean you with it. Girl, nobody asked you.
I want to remember some examples of that. I know it's a lot of it. I want a specific one because that's just how much it's overstimulated me.
Yes.
Of this podcast, degrading women, degrading men, degrading kids, F them kids. Degrading everybody.
Ain't nobody left out, y'all.
No animal,
no child.
Like it's
they on everybody.
See though, but when you think about it though, it's not gonna change. It's because like if you think about it, technology has progressed. Podcast has progressed. All this like media and content and podcasts all of it is, that's going to be what the next generation is going to be focusing on, because that's what they're seeing. Like, so they're going to always speak their minds and have these opinions because that's what they saw. So it's like, they're going to be talking their opinions, and they're not going to, the only way to change their mindsets about this is by educating them and teaching them.
Off of that, people are going to continue saying crazy things because they know that that's what sells. Some of these men be getting eaten up on TikTok for these podcast clips, but they still go back and say something even crazier.
Because they know their views are gonna go up. People are gonna go in and engage and be like, "Oh no, you heard what he just said? You gotta go watch it." Just like Cat Williams, like he went off. Went off. How many views that man got on that podcast?
About 50 million.
And all he was doing was just sitting there. I mean, he was really telling the truth.
Yeah,
it was on there spinning the truth. But if you think about it too, it was also there sitting there talking about people. And so it's just like, it's like that's what people like. That's what the new generation is like. And so that's what they're going to continue to do. So it's like we're not going to be able to change that. The only thing we can get by changing some of the ways these men and women think is by educating men and women about their rights. Like, women, don't settle for less. Men, you have to know, if you don't want to, if you think the only thing you can afford is a Pandora ring to propose to somebody, go and propose with that Pandora ring. If she say no, she is not the one for you. So it's just like knowing where reality is, like Kingy had said earlier, knowing where reality is, and stop trying to think about, oh, this is what the media said, this is what I need to do. Because at the end of the day, if you think like that, you going to be forever alone.
But also,
and
I
a
feel
slave
like,
to the media.
Right.
too, but I feel like it'll never die out because there's somebody for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, you would hear them say crazy stuff, but if you go through the comments, there's a few people in there like, yes, 3 you 8.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, wow, you're messed up.
Like, they could be like
people in this world. You're messed up. Like, and it's like, it don't matter what anybody say. Like, there's somebody for somebody out there. Like, they're just like, waiting and praying for somebody to say it out loud.
And it's gonna be a woman in the comments like, preach, brother. Preach.
That's how I like it.
Like,
I feel like it's special for us because I feel like we're the last generation that kind of knows what it is before all this social media shit happened.
Yeah.
You know, like we used to be outside. Like we used to.
I used to be crispy as a kid.
Yes.
I used to be so crispy.
We was outside and we was playing outside. We was interacting. It was a lot of human interaction going
your
on.
neighbors.
yes.
I
Your
used to go to this
neighbors
Mexican girl house
knocking
and
on their doors. Is so and so here? You'll see them ride around with their bike, coming to meet you on your bike.
I used to climb trees. Adventures is
Playing hide and go see tag.
Kids
going down the hill on the bike.
in the media now.
Y'all.
All they want to do is stream
And not to be an old head, but I did meet like a real life 10-year-old like
Sephora
kid.
Yes.
I was in Sephora dead. I'm talking about she had on a Lululemon jacket, a Lululemon sock. She had on a like stack, and she was small. And she was like, and she had bought it. Her mom was just like on her phone, and she was just like at the crash register checking out by herself. She had this big bag, and I was like, wow.
Must be nice.
I wish I was you.
You know, I had a client today that was just like that. Like, her mom had her Stanley Cup. She had her Stanley Cup. She was sitting there with her iPad. She had her little Lululemon. Her mom was giving her the Stanley Cup to sip out of. And then I was watching like this girl on YouTube, and she had this Lululemon bag, and she was like, her mom said, no, don't look at it. And she was like, but it would be so easy for school. Like, I don't have to carry a backpack. I was like, it is cute. It is cute.
Even though we don't know, like, you know, the millennials, they'll be like, y'all don't know nothing about that. We also can be like, y'all don't know nothing about that.
Because I used to be annoyed with them.
Yeah,
so
we used to be happy about them erasers that they had like a design on it or something. Or like them when the multicolored pens came out.
Y'all know what I had a time with? Like, because I went to a PWI when I was little. Do y'all remember that bracelet? It had the dirt in the water. Y'all, do y'all remember that bracelet? It had dirt from the Dead Sea and water. It was a white girl thing, I promise you. But I was in
animal bracelets.
there. And I
Yeah. Or the little bracelets.
Wait, did it like mix or something?
No, like one bead was white and one bead was black, and I forgot what they were called. But I literally came across them on TikTok, and it was like, y'all talking about these Sephora kids, but we was them kids, and it was like it was definitely a PWI kid, like thing, and it was like it was Dead Sea dirt at the bottom and water at the top from Mount Everest. It was not real, but y'all, I gotta show y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta show us that. Because now
No, we used to be obsessed with extremes, making the bracelets with the strings.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
we were and the rubber bands, like so obsessed.
Can you start this for me?
I used to start
it for people. I knew how to
Your
start it.
sister used to do that for me.
What?
She used to start them for me.
No, exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I never was able to do that.
I finally
Right
knew how to
when
start it, and people used to come up to me and be like, "Can you start it for me?" I'm like, "Yeah, bring it."
Yeah. You feeling like, yeah, you
Like,
gotta bring it.
and I started for them. I do like 2-3 rows, and give it to them. There you go. And I used to love them. Like, oh, I don't know. It was an era.
Kids just don't experience like, yeah, even like toys. Like now their new toy is literally an iPad. Like to get an iPad.
Their friends.
It's
different.
They play on Roblox and
all
stuff.
They love it. But like I low-key be just I don't know how to play Roblox and I want to learn.
But you know what? Also, I think a big thing is, and this is what I see, especially working in a shop with little girls. I don't know if it's the parents, but I 100% believe it's like them just being have such free access to social media, the way that they talk to each other. Girl, please.
That is
like
exactly what I was
She
going to
tripping.
say.
She be doing too much. Like I be just braiding away like. And then she talking about yes, they be talking about, girl, I'm a beat her up. I'm over my man. Over my man.
I was reading this girl's text messages while I was doing She was literally like 11. She was like, what she say? I'm gonna beat her mama up. I'm gonna beat his mama up.
About my
She was
man.
talking about her man. Yes. She was talking about her man. She was like, I'm gonna beat his mama up. Oh my god.
And she was just rubbing her hair. She was like, I beat his mama up by my man.
And you know what's crazy is because like we're talking about all this, but we have to realize it's these podcasts that's having us like this. Like it really is like the stuff they'll hear from here. Like for example, I mean just the media period. Like when what's her name, Lotto got on stage and she was like, "To my man, thank you to my man." Now you see kids actually rapping stuff like that.
Booty hole Brown.
Oh,
Them kids was in that shop. I'm gonna, my booty hole brown. Don't even know the lyrics, but they got that part down pat. And I was like, your mom used to sing it.
No, the mother was like, stop saying that.
Just media, not even just podcast. Media
Yeah.
in like general, it's sour.
It's really corrupting the minds of the youth. And I say specifically the youth because they are the new generation, and we have to focus on them because they are going to be the upcoming generation. And it's just like they don't want to read books, they don't want to further their education,
They don't
or
think about
they
their
don't
future.
exactly. And it's like the literacy rate right now in the U.S. is
Baby,
it's horrible. It's aren't like because of podcasts and like content like TikTok, Instagram, and all these, they look up to this, and then they think that school is nothing now. Like they feel like if they go to school, if they go to college, they're not gonna. It's not good. They want that rich lifestyle. They think it's easy to get it through content, through just being on social media and seeing all these travel, and they think it's so easy. And they're like, well, we don't need to go to college to achieve anything. Which is true to an extent, but it's not for everyone. Yeah, so and it's just like some people still need to go to college.
I think it just shows how the dunya just be changing.
Yes,
Because
man.
in reality, all this stuff really don't matter.
It don't.
And our generation, what was pushed on us was school. Their generation is content.
Yeah.
That's what they care about. Our siblings watch YouTube all day. And you can see the difference in what we used to do. But in reality, none of that stuff matters. So I'm not gonna say it's right or wrong. it's just what's for them right now. Who knows what the next generation thing gonna be? Ooh, they might be farmers.
I would love that. I would be a part of that so quickly.
Go back in history. Go back in
Right,
history.
because you know history be repeating itself.
Right.
I think that honestly, I feel like as far as like content with the younger generation, I think there's a lot of it was this quote I had posted on Instagram, and it basically the basis of the quote was people are so immersed in other people's lives that it takes away your joy from your life. And so they be looking at other people's lives, like even us, we have these conversations all the time. I feel like I'm not doing enough. I feel like I'm not successful enough. I feel like I should have this, I should have that, because we are constantly ingesting other people's lives, and we're doing a lot of comparison. Comparison is still joy, number one.
Yeah.
So they just have this mindset like that everything's supposed to be so rushed. Like, what? Work at McDonald's. Shit, that's fine. There's no problem.
It's just hard to think that way, and it's easy to think that, you know, you're not doing enough and you're not doing this because the way social media is, and it's just like everything is so in our face. Like sometimes you just gotta take a break and lock in with yourself, or you will lose it. You will lose yourself if you're not strong enough to.
I feel like even the way the economy is set up, I feel like it plays away. Like you're living soft, you're living smooth, you got this luxury life, and I'm working at McDonald's, which is okay, but it's not even enough to get me the basic. Like it's not even enough to get me to where I need to be. And the fact that I have to work 2 jobs, which wasn't the case way back when, it's really like maybe I'm really not doing what I need to do because I'm not even meeting the standards that I need to meet for a regular, just regular life.
Right. I remember me and Fatima had a conversation about this actually, which is crazy, where we were both feeling like we weren't doing enough to get to where we need to be. And I still sometimes feel that way because I just feel like, bro, I need to be doing this. I need to doing this. Because what we gotta think about, like what Fatima Kavita said back then. Our parents were, and our older siblings were able to do more because the economy was not as bad. But now because the economy is so bad and everything is so expensive, and it's so harder for us to grow up and become something and be financially stable like the way we want, we gotta work harder. So it's like something on your back telling you gotta go harder. You gotta go harder if you really want to make it to where you're trying to be. You gotta go. You gotta achieve this. You gotta do this. And you gotta lock in.
Because back then they weren't so immersed in people. Like celebrities were like freaking. You have to be a bug on the walls to know what's going on. Right. Nowadays, you can know everything that's going on with somebody, and we have to put ourselves. We have to put ourselves in a situation where we're locked in with ourselves, and like you said, we had the conversation where we were talking about, we feel like we're not doing enough, and I had to put myself in a position where I only see the person I want to be. I'm not looking at what nobody else got going on. You feel me? Like, and you have to be like that. It's just different times.
How do y'all feel that podcasts and just social media, how do you feel like that's dividing people? Because I feel like we was just talking about this music. I feel like music is a really good example. Like back in the day, everybody knew the same music. Now you got somebody listen to Honcho, this nigga listen to Big Wavo, she listen to somebody that nobody know. Like, you know, so it's
like it's always about exclusivity. Like it was cool. Like back in the day, I feel like that's why party culture isn't a thing, but we're not even about to get into that. But like music was like everybody knew the same thing. It was on the radio. If you didn't know the song, like it was definitely your fault because it was on the radio. But like now it's like niche. Like who has the most underground playlist ever that nobody's ever heard?
Yeah, like music. So how do you guys feel like this, just social media in general? Because I feel like we say a podcast, but I think we really mean like social media. How do you feel like it's dividing people and creating these different subgroups of people, and this person's better than that person?
I think it's like opinions. Like people are confusing opinions as facts nowadays. It's like what this person, like for example, it just depends, and it's like it goes deeper than that also, because it's like the way people look at success. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're equating success with money, cars, and houses and things like. For example, Drake, he has this new streaming thing where he's basically promoting like gambling. You get what I'm saying? And he is. Everybody know Drake is like big money spender guy. Like that's what you know Drake is.
I need the max
I never using the shot. I love that so much. But like they pick and choose, you know, who they want to be the face of something. So it's like Drake, he's like this gambling person. You get what I'm saying? So it's like
just to get people to
it's yes, and so it's like whatever Drake say with this is that's what's gonna go.
Yeah.
Or like you have people like, for example, let's say Beyonce had this like everybody like in the music industry or anybody who really likes music really respects Beyonce. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, imagine Beyonce got on a podcast and she was like, well, you know, I just don't think Rihanna makes good music like that. Now the whole world is gonna be saying, oh my god, Beyonce is right, y'all. Rihanna never made no hit.
It's gonna be a debate.
It's going
debate.
no, but it's just like because she is such in high power. She has so much credibility that she's able to like create this like he's like I mean even a debate and stuff.
Yeah, that's where the divide.
So it's like there's that divide. It's like, well, I think this, and then I think this, and now it's to the point where we don't even respect each other's opinion.
Can I get into a quick subtopic about the gambling? The way that they just, whoever's at the root of all this stuff, made gambling accessible to the younger generation. Yes, with prize picks, with all this NBA stuff, girl. You don't have to go to a casino to be a gambler anymore. Yeah, these people are obsessed. I have so many guy friends who are like, "Oh, you want to give me numbers like for the game, like." And they making money and they losing money. Like it's all they do is their job at home.
I never actually got it. Like how did that shit work? How did
you
it
get
work?
an app? It's literally just an app. It's several different apps and it's promoted everywhere. Even if you be on TikTok, DraftKings, Prize Picks, literally everywhere.
So what do you
and that's
do? You
what
like
talking about with Drake?
Do you just like
you
guess
the score, score, or how many this player is gonna do? Like. It's different little things. And girl, people be making money off of it, but it's literally just gambling.
I feel like it has divided women and men tremendously. Like I feel like the biggest impact is on that men and women because like we were talking about earlier how, you know, the men got different viewpoints on how a woman should be and then women have different viewpoints on how a man should be. And then you have this conflict. And then also you have where they talk about in podcasts where like how a man and a woman should be in a relationship. And it's just like you can't really tell people like how they should be in a relationship. No one's ever gonna listen. Everyone has their own way of being like how they're gonna be in a relationship. And it's just like it's divided so much of the men and women. That's why you see so many failed relationships because they sit there and listen to these podcasts and be like, well, my man's supposed to be doing this, or my woman needs to be doing this, she needs to be cooking and cleaning, and if I'm providing the household, like how you said, so many people, like even just Dijon the other day, he was telling me like, if I'm providing for the household, he said, if I'm doing everything, I'm providing for the household. He said, then my woman, she needs to be cooking and cleaning. Like, I shouldn't find nothing in the house dirty. I said, boy, you crazy. Or when I was at work, I had some of my coworkers like that was one of the topics. It was like, if I'm providing everything financially, like if I want to eat at 3:00 in the morning, my wife should be able to get up and make me a meal.
Why can't a man
I never
just do what they're supposed to do and enjoy it?
Hey,
like
you just
it's
said
just
something,
like
girl.
it's too much of a task for them. It's just this anger that comes with it because they wish that they didn't have to do that. Nigga, that show jack.
But there's men in the
love
world
it.
that I've seen podcasts or I've seen TikToks where there's men in the world that really like, I do this for my wife because I like to do it. And it's like she does what other men want her to do. Like, and it's all, like I said from the beginning, like, it's about that attitude. You come to me with this rah, but I don't want to do all of that. You coming at me weird.
Right.
Stop.
People not gonna do what you tell them to do.
Right.
I
Let me
like,
do it for you.
it's like this new phrase that they have. They'll be like, high value woman, high value man. I mean, can we just elaborate on what that is? Like, what is a high value woman? What is a high value man? Like, what is that?
What are you
Girl,
saying?
don't even get me
Well
started.
sought after.
Whatchamacallit? I got my Coretta Scott.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
I got
need you to
my-
hold me down like
Coretta
Coretta
Scott.
Scott.
That's
No, I'm just saying, like, telling a white woman to act like Coretta
It's
is
insane.
It's
That's
insane. My
She-
thing is, why you sit here trying to have this woman? You don't even know how Coretta Scott King acted in her relationship, and you telling her to act like Coretta Scott. You
Because
don't know.
there is
telling-
a stigma about how she acted, that she was down for Martin Luther King,
I've seen
whatever.
someone
But
post it anywhere.
I've heard
Her
that.
daughter posted and was like,
Yeah.
my mom wasn't a prop.
Yeah,
My mother
exactly.
was not a prop.
And
And it was like, well,
And you see, what's so crazy to me is because, okay, so Coretta Scott King was actually in the movement, like in the civil rights movement before Dr. King was. Like, think about it, like, Coretta, she was a native.
Yeah.
And then Dr. King, he moved from Atlanta, Georgia, you know,
Yep.
came to Birmingham. So I heard this thing where it was like Dr. King, he saw Coretta, he was like, ooh, that's a fine young woman right there. But he couldn't get her attention because it's like they not on the same level. So now he's like, okay, watch, I'm finna do this. He doing the thing, all spotlight on him kind of thing. So, it grabbed her attention kind of thing. So it's like, for me, it's like, okay, I think the way the world is like, they saw her as she holding him down, she fueling him, she behind him back, when they don't know. She was probably the one fueling him these ideas. She probably the one saying, I think this gonna work, babe.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to me because it's like, with these podcasts, they have to look at these things. Like, you have to consider that your woman is like your partner. She's not your what is it, like your refill. Like, she's not your halftime. She's not your halftime. Like, she is your game. Like, she's the mission. She's the score. Like, she's all of this. And it's like,
you have a woman by you. Continue that.
girl, you have
a strong
everything
woman
by
by
you.
you.
You have everything.
Literally,
Bro,
she's going to make you that man.
There's literally an ayah in the Quran, like Surah An-Nisa, the Surah about the women, where Allah says that, like, basically how he was talking about how you should treat a woman, like treat them with gentleness and all these things. And he's like, if you dislike it, know that you are disliking something that is good for you. Like, just listen to that. But now we got these men talking about some, well, my wife, she just need to be a mother. Like, I'm just marrying you because I need a mother for my kids.
Don't
That's
value
so sad.
Don't value us.
value.
And the people out here watching it,
And
how
they be
gonna
thinking they
see?
the prize. What was that? Another podcast topic?
Yes,
Be
it was.
Yes,
so mad.
Being the prize.
You're nice.
He
That
made me
was
so
never
mad.
a thing. That
How do y'all
is
feel
a now
about
thing.
that?
I've never met a generation
Men
that thought
actually think they're the prize.
that they
Going
was
to
the
UA.
Timothy.
I went to UA. Show me. Them men want you
UA.
to chase.
Oh, yeah.
Chase them.
Oh,
back.
yeah.
When I was
Them
in UA,
athletes. Oh,
when I was,
you better put on your running shoes if you want one.
it was a day, one day in UA, and it was this boy, and I was just, talking, and I wasn't really giving him like the energy. He was like, "Well, you look stuck up anyway," and stormed off. And I was like, "Sir, are you okay?
That's
Are
sad.
you okay? Are you mad?
That's sad.
Because you're really sick right now. Like, I
But they be gay.
I feel like, because me and Fatima, again, you gonna hear this, me and Fatima was talking, because we always talk, but we was talking about this earlier in the shop today, and I think people don't think about this type of stuff on the surface, like the base level surface. be nice to your partner. You know what I'm saying? I feel like when I hear these type of things from via men or women, it doesn't even sound like y'all have been in love, you know? Like, think about your sister, you know? Think about how you treat your sister, how you treat your brother, how, you know, your brother's gonna wash your dishes for them.
Men don't treat their moms and their sisters right.
They don't even.
Because you'll know when a man treat their mom and their sister right. Those type of men value.
Even then, like,
it start at home. Everything start at home.
Yep. Because going back to the podcast thing, on the podcast when we was talking, the podcast was like, oh, I don't care if she just had labor, when she get home, she need a cooking clean. This is a Muslim man talking.
Muslim man talking,
man talking, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't care if she just gave labor. She needs to make sure she's cooking."
Because
what Kendi said, like she hit it on the nail. Like, that is not like, forget the whole relationship, forget love. That is not a nice thing. Like, this woman is literally bleeding for days. She's hurt. She has like, it doesn't matter what she's going through, and you're gonna tell her, "I don't care, cook." That's not. Like, you wouldn't even, would you do that, or would you say that to a stranger?
Yeah.
Right.
Let alone your wife.
You know what's crazy? It's like, I don't think they look at it as this. For example, like when a woman gives birth, right? She's excused from doing the most important thing that as Muslims we do on this earth, and that's what praying. She's excused from praying for probably like a month and some change. And now you think you got a higher audacity where she gotta cook for you? Oh, you don't know.
Raise the price on audacity.
Raise the price, please.
And it's like, it's so crazy because you just said higher, because there was another topic, and this is our topic, but it was talking about women who have, gone out and had sex or whatever before marriage. And the guy was basically saying, oh, you might as well tell me now so I can decide if I want to marry you or not, which is fair. But the lady was explaining to him, and she explained it beautifully. She was saying how if she went and she asked God for forgiveness, she asked Allah for forgiveness, and, she got up on her deen and she has changed her life around, why does she have to tell you? Because Allah has already forgiven her. Like, the highest has already forgiven her. Why does she have to tell you? You know what I'm saying? I know that they say if you keep other people's sin on the day of judgment, God is gonna, take in your sins. And he kept going back and forth with her. But I feel like once she has said, Allah, what else conversation is there to be had?
If God forgave her, who are you?
Who are you? Just want to know stuff, so that they can degrade you more.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's what it is.
And it's always like on the woman, like, sir, you're not gonna tell me you're a virgin.
Hey,
you're not gonna tell me that, and I'm not gonna believe it.
Because it's so.
And you're gonna look at me and be like, yeah, I'm not gonna marry you. I don't want to marry you. I don't know how many. I'm gonna keep that language. So I don't know how many people you done laid down with. I don't want to do that with you. No.
And it's like women want that too. We want to be able to have that first time experience with you, but you didn't lay down with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And they told me too. They came and was like, yeah, we did something. And it's not shy. It's not a secret. You didn't even try to sweep it under the rug. It's on top of the rug. Right on top.
Right on top.
Heavy.
Can't roll it up.
Can't roll it up. And then you want to sit there and talk about, the audacity, man.
The audacity. What she said? Raise the
price.
Raise the price. I want us to talk a little bit more about ourselves and set a class and our mission and what we do and what we like to do.
And how our podcast is different from
the ones we sitting around here just bashing.
I think the difference with us is, because I see podcasts with, they'll be like a group of Nigerians and stuff, but I don't see a lot of people like getting in people, talk and just interact on social media a lot in general. You know? So I think it's really going to be a really cool experience to just kind of share our culture, share our opinions, share our mindset, and just really show you guys what Set a Class is about, because I think that we're not just, where it's Mandinkas, it's Sosas, you know, full of people. And we've all kind of just come together because we want to get to know each other. We want to have that sisterhood, that connection. And it's important. I say this all the time. I feel like the best relationship you can have in your life is with women. Point blank, period. Because women are great, obviously.
And those girls that be like, they don't have girlfriends.
Weird.
I'm scared.
Stay away from me. That's crazy.
Girls just do too much for me.
That's the girls that be
I've
like,
always
they don't
had
like
only
deal with
guy
me.
friends. Like, I just get along better with guys.
Girl.
I think our podcast is gonna be like different from the rest because it's like just seeing how we are with each other. Like we really respect each other like on high levels, and then we also really respect other people and their opinions. Because like I think that's what's wrong with the world now. We don't celebrate each other's differences, and I think us like our group really we enjoy each other's differences, and then also like no one knows it all, so that's why we're gonna be talking from our perspective, our experiences, the things that we went through, the things that made us who we are. It's not just like, for example, I don't know nothing about what's something I don't know nothing about. There's a lot I don't know nothing about. So I'm not gonna talk on white men. I don't know a lot about white men. That's true. So I'm not gonna talk on white men. I don't know. I don't have any experiences with white men. So why would I talk about that? So I think that's what one thing that we really want to like focus on and just like stick to. That's
And I saw a post you shared. One of these days, it was like she like I be sharing it.
Yeah, I'm like scared. I don't know what it was.
It was like something I can't remember it verbatim, but it was like if you want advice from me, just know it's gonna be
Islamic.
Yes, and I
can give
know one
advice
thing
without
about
being
it is
Islamic.
we gonna talk and talk and talk, but by the end, it's gonna be
It's gonna be
be
some Allah Akbar in
in
there.
there.
Cause you guys are definitely gonna like catch this as you guys watch the podcast more. But like for me personally, like I kind of have a different background than like the rest of the girls. My mom's American and my dad's African. And just one thing I could say, being in satellite class has just made me so connected with not only my culture, but just connected as a girl. Like having that, again, I already said it, but having that relationship, having that friendship, that bond is so important. Like just moving through life, because nobody is going to be there for you like a woman is going to be there. Okay, can I get 8 minutes some snaps? Okay, because literally, so I feel like you're definitely gonna see that, and you're definitely gonna see that in the podcast that we're all super girlish and we're women, but you're gonna see perspective from girls of different background. You're gonna see that feminine female perspective on masculine things, feminine things, political things, and I feel like that those takes and that perspective is very important, and that is shit, because I don't see that enough like with people and like podcasts in general. Like y'all talking, but y'all not talking, like y'all are not talking about things that are things that matter, and y'all not putting y'all input, y'all feminine input on things that matter. So
And hopefully we also get to have like, well, we are gonna have guests in the future, and hopefully we get to have some male guests in there as well. And yeah,
You say Rihanna?
inshallah.
Rihanna, if you seeing this, help us sister out.
You know we got the same birthday. Help a sister birthday's twin out. You feel me? But yeah, no, definitely you're gonna see sisterhood. You're going to see us maybe cry on the podcast because of our experiences. You might see us. You're gonna see us laugh. You're gonna see us like. You're just gonna see every emotion that you can see. You might see us frustrated with life, and we're just gonna take y'all on that journey of sharing our diary with y'all, because honestly it's kind of like a diary where you're talking your viewpoints and you're expressing yourself as a woman, as a Black Muslim woman in 2024.
You said
And
something right there.
that right there is a lot.
It's a hard thing.
It's a hard thing. We literally, people see us as the bottom of the barrel, but guess what? We the strongest out there. Like we go through so much and we don't get enough credit and just we don't have a lot of safe spaces where we can talk. And
Right.
Center La Classe is where you see us. We form this group, this sisterhood, where we can bond and all like relate to each other and just, just be able to wind down with each other and see that another person is experiencing the same thing, or we all understand each other and not having to face it alone.
Mm-hmm.
So
We definitely just want to be vulnerable. We get to have times where we're vulnerable with each other, and it's not too much to like get on camera and do it and share it with other people. And it's not just for Africans or Muslims. We want this to be a safe space for everyone.
Be funny too.
Yeah, we got some fun.
That part.
She had to add that, yeah. We funny.
I'm not gonna sit here and cat, but we get to cracking like
Yeah, we get it. Yes.
So don't catch the sound bites.
no, really, especially with Fatima. The sound effects for me and Fatima. Ooh.
Oh, y'all wait until I
Had to be
really
sick of
get
me.
comfortable in this seat.
No, because this first episode just feels so good already.
And I'm just like so excited for them to just like also meet the other girls.
Yes.
Because it's like because we are different people made up of like different things, we just have different personalities.
And I feel like we know
And it's
each
just
other,
so
bro.
we
'Cause
know
I can
each
see
other.
Some of them on the
Yes.
couch now, just like
This
Jana, like
yes.
how I like.
I mean,
not
not the
that.
Aisha. Oh my god, like you little like, and it's like you see the sisterhood in it. It's like it's not only because it's just like, oh my god, I love you so much. It's also, girl, you this, you that. Like it's like we also have that relationship with each other where it's like we can be tough on each other, or we can just like. Or like if we were to be talking over each other, like of course we're not gonna do that now because it's a podcast and you have to understand what we're saying. But like when we talk over each other, when we do these things,
So
it's never bad blood. It's just like, man, you so funny, girl.
Right.
Like it's
yes, talk.
okay.
It's so loud.
I think it's really important to just be aware and recognize what you say. Like if you feel like your opinion is strong enough to sit in front of the camera and have your little mic and say your opinion to the world, you should also be wise enough to be aware of what you're saying and how it's affecting people and how your opinion is being perceived, how you're being perceived as a person. Because at the end of the day, remember, everybody's human. So with that, remember, whatever you do it with class.
Good job.
Yeah, we did so good,
y'all. We sticked it through.
We did so
through all the
good.
little
This the bloopers. She was dying after.